that I find this move a little bit early, and maybe the move bishop b4 kind of highlights that. He's saying all of a sudden g4, you've closed things up. If you take my bishop now, that's a pawn endgame. You're up a pawn, but they clearly don't matter doubled on the b file.
Amon, I think you're completely right. If doubled pawns are isolated and they're frozen like that, white can't trade into the endgame. There's no entry squares. That's why we're highlighting that Nihal trying to play the move b3 to b4. Yes, you sacrifice a pawn temporarily, but you're arguing your king can get there first. You'll eventually win that pawn back, and when you do, it'll actually be a mobile pawn. Here, we don't have that, and I think MVL has made huge progress. I don't see the breakthrough for Nihal.
Yeah, he definitely still has a pass pawn, right? h4, h5, so he's always got that. But what he doesn't really get to enjoy is that extra pawn. The black bishop does need to watch over the b4 square at all times. We start to see the shuffling from MVL. He might be looking for a position that's completely closed off here, and I think we're not far from a potential f5, h5 break. Nihal has 3 minutes and 30 seconds. He's going to take his time because, Eric, this is a position that he shouldn't lose. The question is he going to be able to win so he can avoid Armageddon?
He went for g5. I was looking at this move. After the pawn moved f5, I was trying to figure out the endgames after knight e5 check, but the problem is that gives MVL a protected pass pawn. But g5, what he's trying to do, win the e5 square and place the knight there. But there is an issue here. There is an issue. The issue is lots of white's pawns are in dark squares. It means if you commit your king to one part of the board, there's a lot of liabilities here.
Yep, the bishop will sneak in to d2 or e1. The move f5 has been played, and Eric, this move has to be 100% correct, or it may be 100% wrong. It feels like there's not much in between because the knight's jumping into e5. He's thinking he can hold it.
Can you trade and play h5? Does that ever work? Or do you have to, like, massage the position? That's something to look for, but it probably doesn't work. Black just hugs the pawn, and there might not be a square.
Right, and MVL, he's saying he's calculated this through. Yes, advantage for white. Congratulations, you have an extra pawn, but is it enough to win? After knight e5, he's always going king g7, and Eric, how do you break through? You can play knight e5, you can play knight c6, but I think he's just going to be going back and forth. So maybe one idea is you could try to play knight c6, knight d8, put some pressure on e6, try to combine it with h5, but how crazy is that?
He wants to put his knight on g3, but there's this bishop e1 move.
Yep, and he's not able to play king e2 to prevent bishop e1 because bishop d6, and all of a sudden you need to guard f4.
You know, one question is how does he win it? The other is, okay, Nihal had a time advantage. It's disappearing now.
Yep.
If he had this position with a minute on the clock each, again, we favor the knight. It's a two-result game. He can keep checking, forking, looking for ideas, and MVL has a tough task of repeating. Here, MVL has 2 minutes and 20 seconds. That's a lot of time to continue playing accurate moves. Oh my goodness.
He's offering the h-pawn, and, you know, as creatures of habit, once we find our draw, we just want to repeat. The idea that MVL has is bishop on b4, so he's offering the h-pawn, saying, take it. I have a different idea. I'm going to all of a sudden have a b4 play.
If you take on h4, the knight can potentially trap the bishop or win something. Bishop h4, knight f3, bishop g3, knight e5. You bring the knight back to d3, and then you shift your king over to f3. MVL realizes it's a poison pawn. We're back. He didn't take the bait. And if Nihal calculates and does that, I think that's a smart decision.
Yeah.
And we're back to square one. How does white make progress here?
Yeah, he took some time off the clock, though. Yeah. That's important.
You have to worry about repetitions.
And this is why you stick to the draw that you already have, right? MVL was not worried before. The knight's back on f3, maybe going to e5. That's okay. He's already been in this position. He just needs to defend g6.
Is Nihal looking to shift his king over to g3? When will he commit knight e5? Maybe you play, as you mentioned, knight e5, knight c6, but he has to try something different.
Yeah, a knight e5, definitely a move to attempt. You got to put that in there. He brings the knight to d3. Let's see, bishop d6, always a risky move, right? You want to leave that bishop on the b4 square. There's just no entry. You can't take it.
At any moment, do you think Nihal should try to bring the king over and play h5? When do you pursue that?
I mean, now is as good a time as any, but remember, there's also bishop e1 to consider. The good thing is you're not really threatening to take on h4 because knight b7 ideas.
He's baiting him again, Amon. He wants the bishop to go to e1.
Of course he does. Because remember, even if the bishop takes on h4, it's not guaranteed. right? That doesn't really change the position.
Is the bishop trapped? Because knight d3 was the move that contained the bishop. The knight's on c3 now. So how do you take away e1 as a square?
I think that's
a blunder by Nihal. I don't see how that bishop gets trapped.
Well, he is keeping the game alive, but he's also down time here, and you got to be very careful against MVL. He's actually bringing winning chances to this game.
I think Nihal has to turn into draw mode. He's trying to push for a win here. He finally has played b4. He'd like to get that king to b3. That knight on e2 defends f4 and d4. So is MVL going to swing the king over to defend b4? He can also argue, even if you attack b4, I'll eventually play bishop e1, and you can't actually win the b4 pawn by force without giving something up, because again, white's pawns are in dark squares. If white gets the king on b3, knight on d3, one of those pawns, d4, something could be hanging. It's very hard to coordinate, but MVL's spending so much time. He just had 15-second edge. It's down.
Well, I think he's concerned, right? Knight c1, knight d3, how do you defend the b pawn? If you push the pawn, all of a sudden knight c5, he is picking up this pawn again. This is some kind of progress, because now maybe it's a little bit different.
It is progress. Nihal
Knight h4? He's missed knight h4. The idea of knight f3, knight h4.
You can't get in there. There's two squares, knight e5, knight h4. The king can't get in time. It's blocked out by knight e5 taking f7. And look at that.
He's going to resign. Oh my goodness, just the idea of knight h4. We saw the game end a little bit early in the first game. We were critical of that. And now he's even resigned this one. 20-second deficit. He was about to lose the g-pawn. Eric, Nihal Sarin, S8UL Esports. He's defeated MVL. He's eliminated him, and he's moved on in the Esports World Cup.
And we have to give him credit. He was pressing the whole game, and he's someone who maximizes his chances. He does not allow a repetition. He keeps going, and he's through.
That's incredible. Nihal Sarin. It's unbelievable how he keeps doing it. And at this point, Eric, we start to